So hi guys, welcome back to my educational vlog. I'm Belinda Mae Murillo and today I'm going to share my new interesting vlog. So, if you are new to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Our discussion for the topic Chapter 6, Lesson 3. It's all about the fundamental of taxation. To truly begin our discussion, let me first give you the objective. First, students will learn about taxation. Second, the basis of taxation, principles, limitation, and constitutions. First is let's talk about the nature of taxation. What is taxation? Taxation is a state power exercised through a country's legislative body. It is a term from when taxing authority, usually a government, levies or imposes a financial obligations on its citizens. Second is the principle of taxation state. It is to provide revenues for the government. That tax each individual is bound to pay ought to be certain, not arbitrary, the time management, and the manner. The third is the reciprocal duties of protections and support. It is the contributions that the taxpayer receive benefits and protections from the government. It is also called the benefits received principles, and lastly the constitutions. Purpose. First is to raise revenues from all possible sources to support. Second, taxes safeguard newly opened industry to pioneering. Third, shield domestic procedures. Canons of taxation. It is a basic principles of sound tax system. It is simply means the characteristics or qualities which a good tax system shall be processed. It is related to administrative part of a tax. So there are three basic principles of the sound tax, which are fiscal adequacy, administrative feasibility, and theoretical justice. So the first basic principle is the fiscal adequacy. The taxes collected by the Bureau of Internal Revenue, which is the BIR, it is also the source of revenues, must be sufficient to meet the government expenditures and other public needs. That our revenues must be capable of adjusting the variations in public expenditures. The second basic principle is administrative feasibility. It is the payment of taxes must be taxpayer friendly. It means that tax laws and regulations must be capable of being effectively enforced with the least inconvenience to the taxpayers. That laws, rules, and regulations must be capable of being administered and complied with. And the third is the theoretical justice, the ability to pay principle. A sound tax systems must be based on the taxpayer's ability to pay the tax after of the canons of taxation. So let's proceed to the basis of taxation. First is the Constitution, the fundamental of law of the land. Second is the statutes, laws passed by the Congress or presidential decrees. Third is the Bureau of Internal Revenue rules and regulations, which is the BIR. Basis of taxation is judicial decisions on tax cases by the Supreme Court. The fifth is provincial, city, and municipal ordinances. Sixth is the observance of international agreements, and lastly, administrative rulings and opinions. Okay, so let's proceed to objects of taxation. First is individuals who earn a considerable amount of income. Second, tangible and intangible properties. So this means that tangible is anything which person can see, feel, touch, or any have physical existence like buildings, cash, inventory, investments, while intangible properties, these are things that person can see, feel, nor touch. It is no physical existence at all, like accounts receivable, payment expenses. And the third is personal properties or movable properties. These are the properties that are in a common law systems or a personal properties that can call chattels or personality, any properties that can be moved from one location to another. While the second is the real properties. So these are the refers to roads, constructions, buildings. They are referred as immovable because they are adhered to the soil already. So the last is transactions, consumptions, interests, imports and exports and privileges. And the next is situs of taxation. It is coming from the Latin term for place or location, a place where taxes are to be paid. Situs of taxation is the basic rule that has a state where the subject to be taxed has situs may rightfully levy and collected the tax, and the situs is necessarily in the state which has jurisdictions or exercises dominion over the subject in Let's talk question. About income tax. It is paid either in a place where the income is earned or to the place of residence of a taxpayer. Income tax is a government tax on taxable profit earned by the individual or corporation. It is direct tax that a government levies on the income on its citizens. Income does not only mean money earned from the salary, it is also includes income from house property, profit from business, gain from profession, and any income resources. Next is real property tax, paid where the property is situated. It is an annual tax on real property. It is usually but not always a local tax. It is commonly founded on the concept of market value. The tax may be the land only. The land and building are various permutations of these factors. Personal property tax. Taxes on intangible properties are paid in the place where the property is located. It is based on the value of the property, which can be on real estate or in many jurisdictions like intangible properties. These are the roads, buildings adhere into the soil, and status of taxations of intangible properties is the owner domicile. The owners can pay property tax being calculated by the local governments where the property is being located with. Next is let's proceed to the business and occupation taxes, paid in the place where the business or occupation is located. It is a gross receipt tax, means a tax imposed on or measured by the value of products that the gross income of the business, gross proceeds of sales, as the case may be, the legal liability of the business, a gross receipt tax because it is levied on gross income rather than the net income. And now let's proceed to limitations of taxation. Inherent limitation. It is rooted in the nature of taxation itself. Are such features an audit that contains the auditor to obtain absolute assurance. It is because of these inherent limitations of audit the practitioner cannot assure the users of financial statements are absolutely free in making misstatement. For the continuation of the limitation of taxation, the tax revenues must only be used for public purpose. There should be a proper delegation of legislative power to tax. Government entities are exempted. There are territorial jurisdictions, and lastly, there is an observance of international limitations of taxations. Those limitations has been provided in the Constitution. So this limitation of Constitution was taken by the Article 3 Bill of Rights. The first is the observance of due process of law in Article 3, Section 14.1, that no person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense without the due process of the law. And the second limitation is taken by the Article 3, Section 1, the equal protection of the law. It talks about no person shall deprive of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal
And the third
protection of
limitation
the
was
laws.
taken in the Article 6, Section 28.1, the uniformity of equity rule. This rule of taxation must be uniform and equitable, and likewise progressive. It is the Congress shall evolve a progressive system of taxation. And the fourth limitation was taken in Article 3, Section 20, the non-imprisonment for non-payment of full tax. It's talk about no person shall be imprisoned for debt or non-payment of a poll tax. So what is a poll tax? A poll tax is a personal or capitation tax, or also known as a head tax. It is a tax levied as a fixed sum on every liable individual without reference to income resources. And the last limitation was taken in the Article 6, Section 28.3, the no appropriation of religious purposes. No public money or property shall be appropriated, applied, paid, or employed. It talk about the charitable institutions, churches, and conventions thereto, mosques, non-profit cemeteries, and all lands, buildings, and improvements actually directly and executively used for religious, charitable, or educational purposes shall be exempted from taxation. Now, let's talk about double taxation. It is a transaction was imposed with two or more taxes by taking authority in the same year. It also occurs when an object of taxation was levied with two or more taxes from the single tax
So what
basis.
is direct duplicate? Direct duplicate is one the taxpayer pays directly to the government. These taxes cannot be shifted to any person nor groups, such as federal income tax. While on the other hand, the indirect duplicate is one that can be passed through one person to another and can be shifted in a constitutions or group. These tax can be examples of business partner taxes or business property. Now, let's proceed to the question of government taxing itself. First is B tax if it derives profit in the exercise of its proprietary capacity. Second, its governmental capacity when it serves the people and delivers basic services to them. Third, the government acts as the property capacity when it functions for profit. And now we're here at the end of the fundamental of taxation, which is the avoiding taxation. First is shifting, the passing on the tax burden from one person to another. Second, capitalization, done by reducing the price of taxable product. Tax avoidance, the availing of the taxpayer of legally allowable means in reducing or minimizing the tax due, or also known as a tax minimization. It is known as a major goal of tax planning to federal income of tax liability. This can be achieved by reducing taxable income through income deductions planning. Tax evasion, the use of the taxpayer of illegal means of escaping, defeating, or lessening the tax due, also known as a tax tagging. It is a legal usage of the tax regime in a single territory to one's own advantages in reducing the amount of tax that is payable by the means within the law. A tax shelter is one of the type of avoidance
of tax havens, the jurisdictions that facilitate reduced taxpayers. Tax exemption. The best tool of immunity by the taxing authority on the taxpayer from the obligation of tax payment. And lastly, we came to the end of our discussion for today. Thank you for sparing your time watching my vlog. I hope you gained and learned something about the fundamental of taxation. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much and God bless you all.